Hey guys, welcome back to Boring History Episodes. Tonight, we're not walking through forums, temples, or marble statues. We're stepping quietly into the hidden corners of Rome, the rooms nobody writes about, rooms the city forgot. We're standing in the shadows of tiny cellars where straw mattresses lie flat and oil lamps flicker like fragile stars. We're tracing the day-to-day of Roman prostitutes, the women who lived at the intersection of survival, economy, and society's judgment. You might picture silk and gold, the bustling streets, bright columns, toga-wrapped senators. But in reality, the rooms were cramped, the floors dusty, and the air thick with the smell of oil, sweat, and human effort. Imagine waking to that scent every morning, every day. Imagine elbowing your way in a room barely large enough to turn, sharing space with stray fleas, and preparing to face a world that notices only your availability. There's beauty in the survival, and absurdity too. Coins, perfume, small mirrors, whispered prayers, all dancing together in a tiny, windowless cell. If this quiet, intimate, sometimes shocking history draws you in, feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. Only if you genuinely enjoy traveling into forgotten lives, and let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. There's something comforting in knowing that across centuries and continents, someone, somewhere, is listening, just like you. Now, dim the lights. Let the room grow still. Let the faint hum of the outside world fade. Feel the weight of the past around you, the soft scrape of a broom, the muffled clink of coins, the distant shouts of markets. Imagine dust motes dancing in lamp glow, the faint scent of wine and sweat, and something lingering, a trace of perfume that speaks of hope and survival. Let your breathing slow, even your thoughts quiet, and when the small absurdities of daily life rise, the oddity of a tax or a wig made from imported hair, let them flicker gently, like candlelight on a plastered wall. The world around you fades. You feel the floor beneath your feet, stone, cold, uneven, the soft brush of linen against skin, the faint warmth of a shared room. You hear whispers. Part 1. Morning in the cellar. You wake up, or perhaps you resurface from sleep. The air is thick, heavy. The room is small, almost too small to turn around. Walls close in, stone and plaster, rough and damp. There is no window, no sunlight, only the soft flicker of an oil lamp. Its smoke curls lazily, mixing with the scent of yesterday, wine, sweat, straw. A hint of perfume, if fortune smiled last night. You inhale. Your tongue feels coarse, your throat dry. Hands brushing over a tangle of belongings. A small bronze mirror, chipped at the edges. A comb. Powder that has clumped overnight. Everything crammed into a corner, tired of being here. You sit up. The straw mattress groans. Not much padding. Fleas might be present. You don't check. You never do. The mattress smells faintly of wine and smoke. The kind of smell that clings to your skin. You breathe it in anyway. The floor creaks. Your bare feet touch cold stone, a reminder that you are alive and that life begins again. You reach for the bucket, your bath. Cold water splashes your hands. No soap, no towels, just the sensation of water on skin. You rub your face. Natron, a coarse powder, scrubs at your dirt. It smells faintly medicinal, like dust and vinegar and hope. Hair next, a tangled mess. If lucky, a bronze comb, otherwise fingers alone. Strands pull, small snaps of hair. You ignore them. Sounds reach you through the thin walls, the creak of straw, the distant crow of a rooster, shuffling outside as Rome begins to stir. Merchants calling, loud footsteps, animals. all announcing the day. You breathe deep. Your body knows the rhythm. Every movement matters. Every second counts. Powder. Red pigment for your lips. A smear across pale skin. A warning, a signal, a claim. I am here. Notice me. Perfume. Neck. Wrists. Hair. Not enough to mask the city. Judgment. You flex your fingers, adjust your skirt, check your reflection in the bronze mirror. Not for vanity, for precision. Every line, every brush of powder matters. Every subtle scent counts. You are ready, or as ready as one can be. The world outside waits. The city does not pause, and neither can you. With a quiet breath, you step fully into Rome, a small figure in a bright toga, carrying courage and calculation in equal measure. The sun has not risen yet, but the streets are already alive, and you are part of that life. A city humming, long before dawn. Streets narrow, cobbled, uneven, mist clinging to stone walls. A faint smell of smoke, bread, and damp. Your home is small, a windowless cellar, barely enough space to turn. Straw mattress pressed against the wall, fleas, the occasional rat, faint whiff of wine lingering from last night. You rise carefully so as not to wake the others. Feet bare, touching cold, hard stone, hands reaching for your few possessions. Comb, small mirror, scraps of cloth. Outside, Rome slowly awakens. You do not. Your day began, while others still dreamed. Water, a bucket in the corner, no running taps, no privacy. You splash your face, wine rinse for the mouth, a perfume of desperation and faint floral oil. The air smells thick, of humanity pressed together, of sweat and the city's slow decay. Dress carefully, a toga, bright, provocative, legally mandated, your badge of profession. Cheap jewelry jingles with every step. Sandals worn thin, hair curled, dyed, braided, or a wig, imported, blonde, a scarce luxury in this cell. Face painted, powder pale, lips red, eyes dark. Not for beauty, for visibility, for survival. The first visitor enters. You guide him inside, every gesture practiced. Hands on shoulders, guiding, steadying, controlling the small space. Your legs shift to bear weight, knees bending to avoid strain. Every touch is functional, mechanical, precise. Coins exchanged before, coins counted now. Your body moves with routine. The ache in your shoulders throbbed constantly, a reminder that this body is both tool and burden. Then, the next visitor arrives. No pause, no time to recover fully. He plays you mechanically, every gesture rehearsed, shifting weight, bending knees, adjusting stance. The space is tight, the lamp flickers. Shadows stretch along your body, tired, tense. Time compresses. Minutes feel like seconds. Sometimes 2 or even 3 arrive around the same hour. You navigate carefully, movements precise, one after another. Hands reach, reposition, steady. Legs bend, support, bear weight. Breath comes shallow, counted, detached. Pain in muscles, wrists and back mixes with monotony. The city outside continues, oblivious. And still you move, a machine, responding to demands, following rhythm, eyes empty, mind detached, body working through repetition, coins, gestures, positions, everything precise. The room smells faintly of oil, sweat, and vinegar. You reset, adjust, prepare for the next. This is survival. This is work. This is life here. Your room is your office. No division, no pause. Sweep the dust. Wine stains. The evidence of yesterday's life mixed with the smell of the city. You check your reflection. Smile practiced, not sincere. The day has barely begun. Outside, the street calls. Foot traffic, merchants, soldiers. Drunks still staggering from the taverns. Each passerby a potential client. Each glance a calculation. A coin jingles. A hand brushes your shoulder. Do you engage, negotiate, or retreat? Your voice, soft, practiced, teasing, words measured, tone calculated, half invitation, half warning. The city is loud, feet on stone, carts clattering, dogs barking, vendors shouting prices you already know. You maneuver carefully. Too close to one man, danger. Too far from another, lost opportunity. The public baths are a sanctuary. Warm water, steam curling around naked bodies. A chance to clean rarely gives it freely. Afternoon brings fleeting respite. Maybe a quiet corner. Maybe a nap. Eyes closed, you imagine distant lands, other lives. Evening approaches. Taverns fill. The smell of boiled cabbage, sweat, and ale coats the air. You navigate chaos. Flirt, serve, dodge, sell. Every smile a negotiation. Every touch a transaction. Night descends slowly. Lanterns flicker in alleys. The city slows, but not enough to rest. Some nights, you walk the streets alone. Moonlight reflecting on cobblestones. Footsteps echo. Eyes follow. Danger is real. Bandits, angry husbands, magistrates. Your armor, your clothes, your knowledge, your speed are all that stand between survival and pain. By midnight, the city sleeps. But your shift is not yet done. Some clients come at all hours. Some business cannot wait. Finally, a pause. A moment to breathe. To sit. To count coins. To arrange possessions. The straw mattress awaits. Cold, infested, familiar. You lie down, still dressed, perfume clinging. Eyes close, mind replaying the day. Every glance, every word, every hand. You survived. Tomorrow, you will rise again, and the cycle will repeat. For survival is quiet, persistent, and rarely recognized. Dawn leaks through cracks. Light barely touches your cell. You rise again, stretch stiff limbs, hands rough from yesterday's labor. The streets call, already noisy, already alive. You move with purpose, sandals scraping stones, a soft jingle of bracelets, a warning, a signal. You know the rhythm of the city, the merchants shouting, the water carriers clanging, the smell of bread fresh from ovens. And you? You are part of this rhythm, a small, bright figure in a sea of grey. The corners are safer. Witch alleys hide danger, eyes everywhere. Merchants, magistrates, other women. Competition is constant, not just for coins, but for survival. By midday the sun burns, the city is hot, dusty, unforgiving. Your body is weary, feet blistered, arms sore from gestures, from holding the line between invitation and rejection. The baths are a sanctuary. Steam curls around your body. The smell of human sweat mixes with herbs. You scrub, you wash, you prepare yourself for the next cycle. Lunch is scarce. Bread, leftover stew, some water. You savor it slowly. Small comforts matter, even in the life you lead. Afternoon brings scrutiny, officials, wandering patrols, magistrates, tax collectors. All eyes on the marginalized. You navigate carefully. A bright cloak, a submissive bow, a calculated smile. The law favors none of you. Visibility is both protection and risk. Every gesture, every step, must balance safety and livelihood. Evening approaches. Lanterns flicker along the streets, shadows stretch. The city exhales after a day of clamor. You step lightly, your presence measured. Clients still appear, still negotiate. The tavern stage now filled with shadows. Drunken men whispering conspiracies, mocking gods, praising women who are not you. You work silently, your mind cataloguing, weighing, strategizing. Each interaction leaves a mark, a story, a coin, a bruise sometimes. By nightfall, the streets quiet. The scent of the city changes. Smoke mixes with dew. Dust settles in corners. Your body aches, your mind hums with calculations. Tomorrow you will rise again. Sleep comes in fragments. A few hours, eyes closing as if on cue. Dreams filled with streets, faces, coins, and the constant hum of survival. But the rhythm never stops. Even as you close your eyes, the city breathes. And you are part of that breath. Part 2. Hygiene and health. With the faint light of dawn, you awaken in your cramped room, straw mattress lumpy beneath you, damp walls pressing quietly on your shoulders. The air smells faintly of yesterday, wine, smoke, dust, and whatever trace of life refused to leave. You rise slowly, feet brushing cold stone, the floor uneven, the shadows of the room shifting with the tiny flame of a lamp. Hygiene is not a luxury here. It is survival. And the struggle begins before the first client knocks. There is no running water, not for washing, not for brushing teeth, not even for rinsing the faint sweat from your body. Your options are minimal. A small bucket, stale water you try not to remember where it came from, and a rag, threadbare, worn, with the faint imprint of previous cleansings. You lower yourself into the bucket, feet shivering, water tepid, and imagine it warm. The reality is a shock. A cold bite creeping up your legs, spreading across your back. You splash. A hand attempts to scrub yesterday off your skin. Soap is rare, a precious lump sometimes traded from one woman to another. Perfume is the modern substitute, a cloud of floral fire meant to disguise what cannot be washed away. The smell of damp linen, stale oil, and the faint sourness of shared space mingles in the air, almost as if it's alive, almost as if it judges. If you are lucky, or if your purse jingles with enough coins, there is the bathhouse. A vast hall of stone, echoing with splashes and murmurs, steam rising like a living fog, carrying the scent of heated water, soot, soap, or the closest approximation. Here you are equal with everyone. Merchant, soldier, philosopher, drunkard, all stripped of pretense, all vulnerable, all exposed. You immerse yourself in the communal water, trying to wash away not just dirt, but the exhaustion, the quiet shame, the invisible judgment you carry every day. A sponge, wooden strigil, scraping the skin raw, removes more than sweat. It scrapes away pretense, reveals the body beneath the rolls, and leaves a faint sting, reminding you that cleanliness here is not comfort, it is strategy. Even in the bath, privacy is minimal. Venereal disease, infections, fevers. Rome does not understand germ theory, but it understands symptoms. It whispers warnings: burning, itching, swelling, discharges. And every client, every encounter carries risk. Your friend whispers a remedy, drawn from old knowledge passed down quietly, like a secret melody. Yarrow, crushed leaves, applied directly to cuts or sores. Angelica root, brewed into teas to cleanse the body, to ease fevers, to calm the ache of deep illness. Mugwort, steeped in hot water, soothes the stomach and calms the mind. Juniper branches, burned in a small corner, purify the air around you and, perhaps, the invisible malaise lingering on your skin. Vinegar washes, salt scrubs, or a faint smear of natron powder are all you have. And sometimes, prayer, to Venus, to Fortuna, to Mercurius, a whispered plea for protection, for life, for tomorrow. These methods work only partially. Yarrow stings. Angelica tastes bitter and harsh. Vinegar burns tender skin. The relief is fleeting. Symptoms return. You cannot take a day off. There is rent due, and clients wait. Disease is not shameful, Rome says, but it is dangerous. A single infection can sideline you, expose you, reduce your income, invite judgment. It is like taking cold medicine and then walking barefoot through a subway, hoping you do not catch something worse while counting coins for rent. Then there is the other shadow, constant and unrelenting: pregnancy. Contraception is a patchwork science, a gamble. Animal intestines, soaked wool, plant extracts. Some methods work sometimes, others rarely. Most leave you hoping. Some women carry small pouches, a mixture of herbs, a whispered charm, a discreet prayer. Other women rely on negotiation. Fewer clients, higher pay, more careful positioning. Even with care, accidents happen. And Rome has no safety net. If you carry a child, you carry not just life, but danger, burden, public scrutiny. You learn to make choices quietly, secretly, balancing survival and safety with the demands of the streets. Long hours on hard floor, breaks during a night shift, all while the world outside judges, ignores, or misunderstands you. You must decide: stay home sick and lose pay, or go out, risk contagion, risk embarrassment, risk being too weak to meet a client's expectation. Garlic paste rubbed on the gums. Warm vinegar soak in a small basin. Herbal tea for fevers. An extra sprinkle of perfume to mask the scent of sweat and illness. The remedies rarely cure fully. They merely buy time. You perform. You smile. You negotiate. You survive. Rome expects you. Clean, alert, alluring. A failure in hygiene is more than discomfort. It is danger. Clients notice. Reputation suffers. Face powder to hide fatigue. Oil and herbs to mask odor. Perfume to obscure more than just scent. To assert control. To survive another day. It never fully works. Some mornings you smell faintly of yesterday. Other mornings of too much perfume. The balance is delicate, and mistakes have consequences. Soap, oil, herbs, they cost coin. Coin is scarce. You barter, you scavenge, you improvise. You swap advice, remedies, and small luxuries with colleagues. A bar of soap for a pinch of yarrow. A few coins for a warm bath. A shared towel for a whispered story. The exchanges are fragile. Trust is limited. Mistakes or missteps invite ridicule, or worse, theft. Hygiene is never just about comfort. It is about survival, about negotiation, about performance, about living another day in a city that barely tolerates you. You develop rituals, a morning rinse, a scrub, a whispered prayer, a touch of powder, a swipe of oil, a deep breath before stepping outside. Rituals calm but cannot shield. The world outside still judges, still exposes, still punishes with absence, with gossip, with avoidance. And so each day begins the same. A struggle against dirt, disease, fatigue. A choreography of hands, herbs, water. A silent negotiation with the body and with fate. Part 3. Legal and social constraints. With a soft step, you leave the doorway behind. The street smells faintly of bread, wine, and the damp of the Tiber. Footsteps echo on uneven cobbles. Some of the stones are slick with early morning dew. Some are crusted with last night's filth. And all of them seem to hum beneath your sandals. The city breathes around you. A dog barks in the distance. A cart squeals as wood scrapes stone. Somewhere, a bell clangs, a signal of opening, of beginning. The air is cold, though the lamps along the streets offer small, hesitant warmth. You are small, and yet your presence is already noted. Men passing by glance quickly, their eyes measuring, evaluating, but not pausing long enough to offend. This is Rome before it fully wakes, the liminal hour where boundaries are blurred, and you move through it like a whisper. Your toga sways against your legs. The bright color catches the faint light of lamps, not because it is luxurious, but because it must be seen. Visibility is survival. Your sandals, worn and soft at the arches, click quietly on the stones, each step deliberate, controlled. You reach the Forum, the heart of the city, where merchants begin their calls, and the first clatter of coins stirs in pockets. A fishmonger sets out barrels of small fish. Their scales glint like silver in the dim light. The scent of the river mixes with brine and smoke. You inhale slowly, letting it fill your senses, because the smell of the city is as familiar as your own pulse. A man walks past, cloth draped clumsily over his shoulder. He glances at you, and for a moment you feel the balance of power, the delicate negotiation of gaze and gesture. It is early, but you already begin your work. Not yet with clients, not yet with coins, but with presence, with being noticed, without forcing it. A bell tolls. The Forum begins to stir more vigorously. Vendors call to each other, their voices rough, strung with sleep and hunger. A baker carries a basket. The bread warm enough. Heartbeat slows in tandem with the city's growing pulse. You reach a corner near the baths. Steam rises from the water, fog curling into the cool morning air. The smell of warm water, soap and damp stone fills your nostrils. You pause again. The baths are not yet full, but the promise of them is already a force, pulling people, shaping the rhythm of this part of the day. A man in a tunic approaches. He seems hesitant. You recognize the hesitation. It is the sound of someone calculating risk and opportunity. You give him a smile, subtle, almost imperceptible, a slight lift of the chin, a tilt of the head. He nods slightly, acknowledging the exchange without words. The day begins to stretch. The sun peeks over the horizon. Its light is weak at first, golden and uncertain. It touches the walls of the Forum, the cobbles, the wooden shutters, and your toga glows softly in its rays. The city becomes louder. Children run past, their laughter ringing and shrill. Merchants shout for attention. Dogs bark. A cart creaks. And you continue, walking carefully, feeling each moment, each vibration of life that will touch your day. You pass a fountain. Water gushes over stone, smooth and constant, a soft, calming murmur in the chaos. You stop for a moment, Dip a hand into the cool flow. The water smells faintly of metal and earth, and yet it is refreshing, a gentle cleansing of the skin and of the spirit. Even brief, it is enough to ground you. Your first customers will come soon. Some for comfort, some for curiosity, some for need. Your job is not only skill, but presence, confidence, and timing. The ability to read, to react, to anticipate before the request is made. A man approaches. He hesitates. You tilt your head. He swallows. You smile softly. He nods. His coin pouch jingles faintly. The morning begins in earnest. You move to your first room. The narrow chamber smells of oil and smoke, the straw mattress uneven beneath your feet. You place a cloth over it, smoothing wrinkles with slow fingers. The lamp flickers. The light casts gentle shadows across the walls. You inhale the room to order. The smell of your presence lingers, but only faintly, like a memory of warmth in a stone chamber. You step back into the street. The sun climbs higher. Voices increase in volume. Children squeal. Vendors shout. The city pulses around you, and you walk again, through its heartbeat, through its smells, its sights, its textures. You pause near another fountain. Water spills over stone, faint ripples catching the sunlight. Your hand dips in, cooling, grounding, reminding you of each breath. Another client approaches. The ritual repeats, each interaction unique yet familiar, like notes in a song played in minor variations. By midday, the sun is high. The street smells of sweat, fish, bread, and the river. Your body moves with practiced ease. Your eyes, alert, read every subtle cue, every flicker of attention, every hesitation in movement. You pause in a quiet corner. A small bread stall offers figs. You taste one. Sweet, faintly earthy. It grounds you. It reminds you that even in survival, pleasure exists in small, private moments. The afternoon begins to fold over itself. The rhythm of work, pause, observation, and movement continues. Every step is deliberate, every glance intentional. You feel the weight of your toga, the warmth of the sun, the pulse of the city vibrating through your feet. By late afternoon, the shadows grow long. You pause to rest briefly, leaning against a wall. The air has changed, cooler now, thicker with the smells of evening meals, smoke, and river damp. The rhythm of the city slows, and so do you, allowing a moment of quiet reflection. The day has been long, yet it is not over. Evening clients will arrive. The city's heartbeat changes, now more urgent, more lustful, more desperate. And you move into it, prepared, aware, alive in the small, fragile space of human intimacy. Night falls, the lamps are lit, the streets are darker, the sounds sharper, the smells more concentrated. And still you move, through the pulse of Rome, through the quiet rhythms that have been alive for centuries. Part 4. Behind closed doors, the quiet work of Roman brothel life. With a soft step, you move through the narrow hallway. Stone walls rise on either side, cool, damp, faintly smelling of smoke and vinegar. The faint rustle of cloth echoes. The house is waking. The door to your room creaks, a small curtained space barely wide enough to turn around. Straw mattress pressed into the corner. Your few possessions stacked carefully. Comb, mirror, a bit of rouge. Everything smells faintly of yesterday. Wine, sweat, incense. You inhale. The scent is familiar, comforting in its monotony. Morning light tries to creep through a slit in the curtain. It fails. The room remains dim. A lamp sputters, its oil burning slow. You watch the flame dance. Tiny shadows flick across the walls. They remind you of movement, of life. Outside, the city hums. You are inside. The first visitor arrives. A knock, light footsteps, a voice low and hurried. You move carefully, adjust your appearance. The brush of cloth against skin, the faint metallic scent of bronze jewelry, perfume, thick, cloying, deliberate. It smells of roses and ambition, a mask. The door opens, a man steps in. You greet him quietly. The exchange is brief, coins clink into your hand. The aroma of stale wine mixes with the sharp tang of sweat. You guide him calmly to the mattress, actions rehearsed, movements precise, a dance of routine, of survival. He leaves, the silence returns. You exhale. The room smells of your own skin, of oil, of determination. A moment to reset, a moment to prepare for the next. Breadcrumbs of conversation float outside the hallway. Laughter, low and rough. A shout, a door slams, someone trips. The clatter of sandals on stone. This is Rome. The city never sleeps. And neither can you, truly. Struggle appears in small ways. Not just the hours, but the judgment, the constant calculation, the eyes that measure, the whispers that follow you. Even within these walls, safety is tentative. You learn to move with a stillness that belies the chaos. Ingenuity is quiet.
Another client waits. Perhaps younger, perhaps drunk, perhaps polite, perhaps clumsy. You assess, you adjust, you guide. Routine. In the hall, a child runs by. Perhaps a servant, perhaps lost. The sound is sharp against stone walls. It reminds you of the outside. The world continues beyond this building. And yet, inside, time bends differently. Moments stretch and compress. Minutes are measured in coins. Lunch is a ritual of efficiency. A loaf of bread, stale but sustaining. A sip of water from a shared jug. A whisper of conversation. Always strategic. A glance at the doorway. A careful ear for approaching feet. Some days, letters arrive. Small scraps of parchment, words from someone outside. Perhaps a family member. Perhaps a friend. Perhaps a client who remembers. You read quickly, storing the messages in the folds of your cloth, each one a fragile thread to the outside world. Struggle takes form in health, the damp, the odor, the close quarters. Disease travels silently. You learn remedies. A pinch of herbs, crushed and sprinkled in tea. A cloth soaked in vinegar. Small rituals to keep illness at bay. Ingenuity is your shield. You barter knowledge of herbs with other workers. You share recipes for cleaning, for scent, for quick meals. You improvise. You adapt. The cost is invisible. Fatigue settles into joints. Skin dulls. Sleep is fragmented. The city outside thrives in sunlight, while your hours are counted in shadows. Afternoon brings another round. Clients, each unique, each a brief challenge. You learn gestures that calm, words that distract, hands that guide without friction. The scent of wine becomes a marker of time. Sweat mingles with oil, perfume, dust. The air grows heavier. You breathe carefully. A rhythm develops. Movement becomes meditation. A sudden sound, a window creaks. A cat leaps from ledge to ledge. Soft thump. You pause. Observe. The world continues its small symphony of noise. And you, within your room, participate. Evening approaches. Trace the edge of your small possessions. Eyes close slowly. Tomorrow will arrive, and with it more steps, more coins, more careful movements. But for now, the room is yours. The scent of oil and perfume lingers. The quiet is a balm. In these shadows, in these small rooms, history breathes. Not in marble, not in the grand forums, but here, in the delicate negotiation of survival, in the subtle choreography of human interaction. And as sleep descends, you understand. Your day, though unseen, matters. Each coin earned, each breath held, each small choice echoes. You are part of the city, part of the rhythm, part of the story. Outside, the streets have quieted, yet the echoes remain. Footsteps long past, laughter fading into the walls. A stray dog sniffs around a corner, its paws soft against the cobblestones. You listen. The city's heartbeat, slow now, but steady. Inside, another room awakens. A neighbor stretches, yawns quietly. Curtains flutter slightly in a warm breeze. You share a brief look, an unspoken acknowledgement. The work binds you together, a silent sisterhood of shadowed rooms and whispered strategies. The night carries scents, smoke from distant kitchens, bread baking in the ovens of other households, wine left over from a tavern feast, faint flowers pressed between the cracks of old doors. Each aroma layered, overlapping, becoming the perfume of Rome itself. Struggle appears in small, invisible ways. A torn piece of fabric, patched repeatedly. The ache in shoulders from lifting heavy bundles. The faint stench that lingers, despite soap and vinegar. The nervous anticipation when a knock comes at the door. Every moment, a negotiation between control and surrender. Ingenuity becomes ritual. You learn to read the subtle cues. A flick of the wrist, a careful tilt of the head. You move in patterns that conserve energy. You create signals, codes, gestures invisible to outsiders. Your body becomes a map, cracks in the shutters. The scent of the day lingers. Perfume, sweat, oil, dust, and determination, all mingled. You breathe slowly, allow the weight of hours to settle. The city sleeps, yet you remain alert for a moment longer, listening, observing, the world outside and inside, intertwined in quiet symphony. And then, finally, you lay down. Straw mattress creaks. Your fingers trace the edge of small possessions. Your mind drifts, carrying the rhythm of the day. Coins counted, steps rehearsed, rooms cleaned. You close your eyes, and for the first time today, you exhale fully. Tomorrow will bring the same struggles, the same ingenuity, the same costs, and yet, in that repetition, you find power. A quiet mastery over circumstance, a survival not just of body, but of spirit. Here, in these shadowed rooms, history persists, not in marble, not in inscriptions, but in the careful, measured lives of those who labor unseen. The quiet heartbeat of the city pulses through you, through your neighbors, through every whispered step along the corridor. And in that understanding, sleep finally comes. Softly, slowly, as the city outside continues its long, patient rhythm, you rest, carrying tomorrow's work folded gently into your dreams. Part 5. The quiet labor of survival. The first light of dawn slips quietly through narrow windows. It brushes over walls thick with the scent of yesterday. Straw mattresses stir. Curtains flutter gently, brushing the worn floors. You breathe slowly, savoring the moment before motion begins. Outside, the city awakens. The distant clatter of carts on cobblestones, birdsong mingling with the rattle of market stalls. Smoke rises from countless hearths. curling lazily into the soft blue of morning. The streets are alive, indifferent, eternal. You rise, stretching carefully, mindful of aches that never fully fade. Each joint protests softly. Your hands remember every knot, every bruise, every hour of labor etched into skin. The air is cool, a faint comfort against the warmth that will soon come. Breakfast is minimal. A stale piece of bread, a sip of watered wine, perhaps a few olives. Taste barely registers. Hunger is companion, not enemy. Energy conserved for the day's demands. Your room, half living space, half workplace, awaits attention. Sweeping first, gathering yesterday's dust, stray bits of straw. The brush drags softly across the stone floor. A rhythm forms, repetitive, meditative. Cleaning is small but necessary ritual. Your possessions lie in careful disarray. Small mirrors, a comb, a vial of perfume, coins counted and recounted. Each item carries meaning, memory, and utility. Even the tiniest objects become anchors, grounding you in a world that rarely acknowledges your presence. And then the first clients arrive. Knocks, soft at first, then insistent. Voices murmuring through doors. Voices that carry expectation, curiosity, sometimes desperation. You respond, measured, polite, careful. Every gesture a negotiation. Every smile practiced and precise. The work begins in earnest. Hours stretch and fold upon themselves. You move with a careful economy of motion. Hands lifted just so. Posture maintained. Eye contact calibrated. The room becomes stage, shield, and confessional.
Dance. Balance between visibility and caution. The day brings interruptions. A neighbor asking a question, softly, curiously. A coin misplaced, recovered with care. A client indecisive, demanding subtle persuasion. Each moment demands energy, strategy, attention. Even meals are small, punctuated, taken in the quietest corners. A morsel of bread, a sip of water, a brief pause. You savor minimal comforts, fully aware of their scarcity. Rest, brief and precious, hidden among duties. The walls themselves hold history. Faded marks from long-past clients, scribbled messages, graffiti etched into plaster. Each tells a story. Praise, warning, desire, complaint. You trace them with your gaze, feeling a quiet connection across time. Ancient voices whisper softly, reminders of survival, ingenuity, endurance. The hours lengthen, the sun climbs higher. Shadows shift across the room, painting walls with light and darkness. Tasks accumulate, sweeping, cleaning, laundering, arranging, preparing for the next round. No pause, no reprieve. But within repetition, patterns emerge. Gestures become instinct. You recognize the rhythm of each client, the subtle changes in tone, in step, in gaze. Understanding forms. Adaptation deepens. Evenings arrive slowly. The streets glow with lantern light, flickering against uneven cobblestones. Noise softens. Some clients linger, others depart. The city exhales after its long day. You prepare the room for night, sweeping one last time, gathering small remnants of the day. Cloths washed, folded, stored. Candles placed strategically, providing soft light for evening rituals. Perfume,
faint now, remains as a ghost of morning. Even here, ingenuity continues. A clever arrangement of mats, the careful placement of mirrors, a subtle signal across a hall. Each detail matters. Each adjustment, a layer of safety, comfort, or Wind carries smells, sounds, whispers across streets. The city is vast, yet intimate. Every heartbeat of Rome touches you, and you touch it back. Silently, you breathe deeply. The work of the day fades slowly into memory. Tomorrow will come, bringing new struggles, new ingenuity, new costs. Yet for now, you rest. Eyes closed, body stilling, mind wandering along the threads of survival, adaptation, connection. And so the world contracts, walls enclosing, shadows softening, air cooling, the quiet pulse of Rome beneath you, beside you, within you. History lives not in grandeur, but in these small, measured lives, in the careful, persistent rhythm of labor, of adaptation, of endurance. Sleep arrives at last, gentle, patient, and unhurried, carrying the weight of centuries, yet lightened by quiet understanding. The city dreams alongside you, and in that shared stillness, the invisible histories of countless others whisper softly. Tomorrow, the work resumes. But tonight, you rest. Part 6. The quiet endings. With the soft sigh of the city behind you, you follow the winding alleyways, familiar yet treacherous. The day has passed, and the sun has begun its slow descent behind the distant hills. The marketplace is emptied. The fountains drip with a gentle, rhythmic sound, echoing faintly against the stone walls. You catch the scent of bread from a nearby bakery, mixed with the lingering perfume of day-old roses and the faint, earthy aroma of damp stone. You move past the small brothel doorways, curtains swaying lightly in the evening breeze, and hear the faint chatter of women settling in for the night. Some are laughing softly, their voices low, intimate, a language of survival shared in whispered stories. Others sit alone, hands folded over tired knees, eyes tracing patterns in the dust on the floor, or staring at flickering candle flames, imagining distant lands, or simpler lives, or perhaps a freedom they have never tasted. You notice the faint glow of oil lamps, casting elongated shadows on the walls, as if the building itself is exhaling, tired from the weight of daily labor. Inside, a woman combs her hair slowly, her fingers tracing each knot and tangle, the comb passing through strands worn by sun and dust, each stroke deliberate, meditative, almost ritualistic. Another folds a rough linen sheet, pressing the wrinkles flat with careful precision. A small order, restored to a chaotic world. The room smells faintly of smoke, of wine-soaked cloth, and of the faint, stubborn presence of human sweat. Outside, a dog barks once, softly. Then the sound disappears into the distance. You follow the echo of life in this quiet rhythm, and notice how the city itself seems to exhale, mirroring the slow exhale of its hidden inhabitants. Some women have survived years in this rhythm, some only weeks. Some carry children asleep in their arms, bundled in cloth, cradled against the warmth of their own bodies, while the world beyond continues, indifferent. You step into a small courtyard, where a stone basin catches rainwater from earlier in the day. The water ripples faintly, stirred by the lightest wind. reflecting the small, precise tasks. Mending garments, rolling herbs for tea, arranging coins and scraps of cloth. Their faces are lined, each crease a story, each wrinkle a map of days survived, of debts paid, of nights endured, of choices made in shadows. You pause at the sound of a woman humming softly, a tune carried through generations, a tune of caution, a tune of memory, a tune that says, "We have endured. We are here." The lamps flicker, casting shadows that seem to move with the rhythm of their breath. You imagine the world beyond these walls, marble halls, glittering markets, triumphant emperors, and realize how far removed these lives are from that grandeur. Yet within these narrow rooms and dimly lit alleys, a quieter empire exists, built not of marble, but of resilience, wit, and quiet defiance. Some will grow old here, never leaving. Some will escape, vanishing into distant towns, bearing coins, scars, and stories as their passports. Some will marry, rarely by choice, but often to secure survival. Some will live in obscurity, anonymous yet present, like a whisper across a stone wall. And yet, despite the hardship, a strange kind of ingenuity persists. Methods of protection, tiny economies of care, rituals of survival, secret codes shared in laughter, and the unspoken laws of solidarity. You hear the soft scrape of a chair, the faint clinking of bronze coins exchanged quietly, the gentle creak of a door opening and closing, all blending into a lullaby of the city. The moon rises fully now, silvering the rooftops, softly highlighting the curve of terracotta tiles, the uneven edges of worn stone steps, the shadows of tiny chimneys reaching skyward. A woman lights a small candle by her bedside, the wax soft and warm under her fingers, its flames steady against the drafts of the evening. She gazes at it, not with hope, but with calm acceptance. She knows the day will come again, the struggle will repeat. The city exhales once more, and for a moment, the world feels still, as if holding its breath, listening. And you, now part of this quiet story, carry with you a sense of something profound. Survival, ingenuity, and the understated power of a life lived against the odds. The echo of doors closing, of curtains swaying, of lamps flickering, all become a lullaby. And as the night deepens, you realize that even in the absence of fame, even in the shadow of history's great monuments, there exists a quiet empire, one of courage, endurance, and delicate, unspoken triumph. You breathe in once more, slowly, letting the city's rhythm fill you, letting the soft hum of life continue through your veins. And with that, you step back, leaving the streets, the alleys, the whispered lives behind, but carrying their memory, softly, like a lullaby for the soul. Take a slow, deep breath and let the streets of ancient Rome fade behind your mind, feeling the whispers of the past settle softly all around you. If tonight's journey drew you in, and the quiet mysteries of lives long gone captured your attention, then consider leaving a like or sharing this journey with someone who might also enjoy it. Subscribing to my channel will allow us to explore more hidden, quiet stories together, but only if it feels right, never as a demand, only as a gentle invitation. Thank you for staying here, walking these shadowed streets with me, and listening to lives history almost forgot. May your night be calm, your breath slow, and your dreams carry whispers of untold stories. The streets are empty,
and the lamps are out, but their memory lingers as a gentle warmth, a soft echo, like a lullaby across the quiet city. And, as sleep approaches, carry this thought with you. Survival can be quiet, resilience invisible, and courage exists in the smallest moments. Rest now, letting the past and its whispers guide you gently into sleep, softly, like a warm hand brushing your shoulder, reminding you that even in silence, life quietly endures. Good night. We will meet again.